Hey, what's up everybody? I hope you all are doing absolutely fine. This is Rudraditya, and in this video I am going to do the full comparison of the OnePlus Nord CE versus the OnePlus Nord. Well, see, this is the Nord and this is the Nord CE, and there are a lot of confusion going into the market. Users are getting a lot confused at which phone they should buy, which phone is better. So see, the OnePlus Nord is a better phone, but you should buy OnePlus Nord CE. Now I will explain more with logical reasons in the video. So let's start. Now guys, see, the OnePlus Nord CE is a core edition of OnePlus Nord. It's very clear by the name. It's core edition. OnePlus said officially that it's core edition, or you can say compromise edition as well. And talking about the successor of the OnePlus Nord, then it's yet to come. According to some leaks, it may come in July or August. But yeah, that OnePlus Nord 2 will come with Dimensity 1200 processor according to the leak. But as of now, we have no successor to the OnePlus Nord. So obviously, the OnePlus Nord is going to be a better device as compared to the OnePlus Nord CE. So please don't get confused. But I'm going to, like, if you have still the confusion like in what departments the OnePlus Nord is better, or in what department the OnePlus Nord CE is better, and why we should buy the OnePlus Nord CE instead of OnePlus Nord, then I'm not going to tell you that why, but I'm going to differentiate the differences between these two phones so that you can decide for your own. Okay, so now let's start first with the build quality and the design. So design is actually very good. It's just that you will get triple rear camera system in the OnePlus Nord CE and the quad camera setup in the OnePlus Nord. And if you look from the front, then in the OnePlus Nord you will get dual camera, and here you will get just a single punch hole, which looks better in my opinion, and also the cutout is very small. So that's the difference of the design. But now if you talk about the material, then in OnePlus Nord you will get a glass sandwich design with plastic frame. Here you will get a plastic back, plastic frame, and then a glass in the front. So yeah, it's a plastic phone, it's a glass phone. That's the basic difference between the materials which used in these phones. But see, both phones feels premium. Now I don't have any problem with the plastic back of the OnePlus Nord CE because the plastic which used here is actually very good. So I have no problem with that. But yeah, if you apply a cheap plastic which get scratches easily and also it doesn't feel very good when you hold the phone, then with those type of plastics I have problem. But here in the OnePlus Nord CE it's absolutely fine. Now guys, let's talk about the main difference. So it's the camera. Yeah, the hardware which is available on the OnePlus Nord is much better than the hardware of the OnePlus Nord CE. I am talking about the camera's hardware. Now don't just go for megapixels. A lot of users are making confusion that this phone has 64 megapixels, this phone has 48 megapixels. So I guess the OnePlus Nord CE is going to be better. No my friend, this is not the case. Now you should focus on the sensor as well. Now this phone has Omnivision sensor, this phone has Sony IMX586 sensor. Now you may say that Sony IMX586 is very old and very common in mid-range phones as well. I mean, it's commonly used sensor. But see, the thing is that OnePlus implemented the Sony IMX586 into their OnePlus Nord quite well, so well. The optimization is so good that you can get a very good image quality out of the OnePlus Nord. For example, Google Pixel still uses Sony IMX363. Why? Because their optimization, their all the image processing works very well with Sony IMX363, that it still competes with some today's best of the best flagship phones, and those phones have Sony IMX 600 and 700 series. I mean, it's all about that how well the company worked with a sensor, processor, and with their software. It's all interrelated. So you should just not see the specifications, especially those specifications which are highlighted on the web page and on the launch event and everywhere else where you can see. Now if we talk about the second thing, the megapixels, then even in I saw a lot of DSLRs which cost you more than 2 lakh rupees and still have 12 megapixel, 20 megapixel, 25 megapixel, not 64, 108. So why? Because they implemented those megapixels quite well, not like just we are trying to insert too much megapixels into a very small size sensor and then we do a pixel binning and all those craps. So no, it's not like that. So That's why iPhone is still on 12 megapixel. However, it will go to the 64 megapixel and I mean more than 40 megapixels so that they can get 8K. That's a different story. They're not going to get 8K in mid-range category for now, for more, you know, for more upcoming 2-3 years maybe. But see, the megapixels are not everything. Camera sensor is also not everything. The image processing and how company optimized their software with the sensor and the overall image processing matters the most. This is the best two examples that I can give. The Sony IMX363 with the Google Pixel phones and some 12 megapixel, 20 megapixel DSLRs which cost you more than 1.5-2 lakh rupees. So yeah, don't just pay attention on megapixels, my friend. So that's why the camera, the OnePlus Nord simply destroys the camera of OnePlus Nord CE. And one more thing, a lot of users doesn't pay attention about the OIS. Now this phone has optical image stabilization and this is a hardware feature. This phone has EIS, which is electronic image stabilization, which is a software feature. Now this phone also has EIS obviously, but company can give you EIS anytime through an OTA update at any video modes, so that's not a deal breaker. Now OIS is also not a deal breaker. I mean, just having an OIS in a camera hardware is not a deal breaker at this price point, but definitely OIS is a must if you are a camera enthusiast, because OIS will help you in video stabilization and it will also help you to take some better night shots. And yeah, OIS creates a lot of difference. So that's why I said that the camera hardware of OnePlus Nord is better. Not just the camera hardware, but the real world user scenario is also much better on the OnePlus Nord. So this is the biggest difference. The camera is the biggest difference. Well, talking about the video capabilities, then you will get 4K 60 FPS from the front camera of OnePlus Nord, where this phone is stuck with 1080p 30 FPS. And if we talk about the 4K capabilities of rear cameras of both the phones, then both phone is, you know, stuck to 4K 30 FPS unfortunately. But the difference is that you can shoot 4K with ultra wide angle lens as well in the OnePlus Nord, but in the OnePlus Nord CE, if you want to shoot in ultra wide angle lens, then you just have one option, which is 1080p 30 FPS. You can't even shoot at 1080p 60 FPS. So definitely in video capabilities also this phone is better. Alright guys, so that's basically the main difference which I noticed, and that's about the camera. Yeah, there's a difference of the material of the rear. If we talk about the display quality, then unfortunately my device has the tint issue in my OnePlus Nord. I faced tint issue and it's still there in my device, but maybe a lot of OnePlus Nord users doesn't have tint issue. But in this phone, so far the experience is so good. I mean, the display is fantastic, but apart from, like, if I keep aside the tint, then both the displays are identical, like outdoor visibility, viewing angles, colors, black levels, contrast ratio, everything is very similar in both the phones. So from display point of view, both phones are very good. And if we talk about the battery, then see, I guess it's not fair to compare the current battery of the OnePlus Nord to, I mean, it's 11 months old, to a 7-day-old OnePlus Nord CE, because it gives me like 7 to 8 hours of screen on time continuously, consistently. And now this phone, you won't believe, but this phone used to give me like 9 to 10 hours of screen on time in the first 2-3 months. Now it's dropped, it's close to 6 hours of screen on time. So according to that logic, I guess even though this phone has less mAh, it still performs better in its prime time, but this phone is also not bad. So in terms of battery and charging, both phones have 30-watt charger. Alright, now if we talk about the performance, then we have the habit to see the numbers, right? Higher the number means it's better. So of course on the paper the OnePlus Nord looks like it has more powerful performance. I mean, this phone has Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G, whereas the OnePlus Nord CE has Qualcomm Snapdragon 750G processor. So of course 750 versus 765 is better, right? But no, it's not the case. I mean, if you look at both the processors, you can say that at some, at some points 750G is slightly better than the 765G. Now ऐसा नहीं है कि 750G is clearly better than the 765G. I mean, both have advantages over each other. For example, if I talk about the pros of the Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G processor, then it has 9% higher CPU clock speed, 2400 versus 2200 MHz of 750G, and it has a smaller size transistor, 7 versus 8 nanometer, of course. Now if I talk about the pros of Qualcomm Snapdragon 750G, then the most important thing is that it has higher GPU frequency, and also it is a new processor as compared to the 765G. So that's pretty much about both the processors, and this phone has Adreno 619, this phone has Adreno 620 in terms of GPU. So yeah, overall both processors are very identical and the performance is also very identical. Like if I will give you two phones without telling you the processor, and if you use with same software which these phones have, then you might not even notice. And if I ask you that do you notice any difference between both the phones, I mean between 750G versus 765G, you are not going to get any difference at all. 768G, if we talk about the processor, the 768G which newly launched with the iQOO Z3, then that processor is almost very similar as compared to these processors. It's just that the 768G has higher clock speed. Now the 765G which used in the OnePlus Nord has the 2.4 GHz clock speed, and the 768G has 2.8 GHz clock speed. So the difference is only of clock speed between 768G. So basically 765, 750, 768G, all these processors are very identical and very similar. So there are some differences but not a lot. So if you are thinking to buy a gaming phone, don't buy these processors at all. You have to still go with the 800 series. Don't even buy the 768G iQOO Z3 for gaming. Okay, so now we talked about the display, battery, performance, camera, build quality, design, all the essential things. Let's talk about the software. So the software is the one thing where I'm not very impressed with the OnePlus Nord. You can watch my full review for that, otherwise this video will get very long. But so far the software experience in the OnePlus Nord CE has been exceptional, even though both phones have same software. But still, if we ignore the minor bugs which I got in the OnePlus Nord, then of course the software is excellent in both the phones. So that's not even a comparison, right? So yeah guys, overall OnePlus Nord is a better phone overall, and the main reason is camera. But why you should not buy this phone? See, it's a 10-month, 11-month, you can say 1-year-old phone already, and it came with Android 12 out of the box. So it already received Android 11, and it will get one more update of Android, which is Android 12. And yeah, Android 12 is about to launch, so you will get Android 12 this year, and after that you will not get any updates. But for this phone came with Android 11 out of the box, and you will get Android 12 and Android 13 because they promise 2 years of software, major software updates, and 3 years of security patches. So definitely this phone is more future proof, not in terms of 5G but in terms of updates and all. So this is the latest and cheapest OnePlus phone that your money can buy. So that's why I will recommend you to go with this one if you want a OnePlus phone. So that's pretty much about all this comparison. Definitely the OnePlus Nord is a better phone, but because it's now old, yeah, you have to go with the OnePlus Nord C. And if you have the budget of 28 and 30,000 rupees, then there are other phones like Realme X7 Max, iQOO 7, and there are some few more phones that you can look. And now if you still have any doubts between these two phones, then ask me in the comment box. And one more thing, the in-depth review of OnePlus Nord CE is coming very soon, so subscribe to my channel for that, and also tap the bell icon. That will motivate me a lot to make more awesome videos. Like the video, share this video with your friends. I will see you very soon in my next video. Until then, bye bye, take care.